So welcome back to Third Rate Content. Today we're in the centre of Shrewsbury once again, and we're going to be bringing you the parade, formerly known as the Royal Shrewsbury Infirmary, and we're going to see if we can bring you a little secret and possibly one of my own personal stories and some history about this place and the building that preceded it. So buckle up and I'll see you out here. Yeah, the parade, formerly known as the Royal Shrewsbury Infirmary, as I've said many times before. Yeah, the original medical facility on this site was opened in 1745. Yeah, former building on this site was reused and redesignated, and the project was overseen by William Baker. The building that preceded this fine Greek Revival specifically built hospital, but the building that preceded this was known as Broom Hall, and it was this building that was reused as the Royal Shrewsbury Infirmary on this site, but preceding this structure. Yeah, the court. This was the extra wing of the Royal Shrewsbury Infirmary. The owner of the previous building, which was on this site, was one Corbett Kynaston, a Tory MP for Shrewsbury, who got caught up in the Jacobite rebellion of the early 1700s, and was disgraced and forced to flee Shrewsbury temporarily. He did come back and died in the county sometime later in the 1740. Yeah, he would have been a story all on his own, but for the purposes of today's story, he died in 1740 in the county in Brighton 11 towns, but the mansion, and he died deeply in debt, so the mansion was sold on by the authorities to reclaim the massive debts he had, and subsequently used as in a health capacity. Edward Haycock was the architect for the project. The new structure was built in the Greek Revival style and opened in 1830. An additional wing was added in 1870. We are going to go inside now and have a little look at the site of the former Royal Shrewsbury Infirmary, which took that name in 1914. So we'll call this door number 1, and we're gonna have a little walk in. Give you the gen. Let's have a little look at these pillars. I think they're joined, but they're very Greek Revival style. Can anyone tell me exactly what kind of pillars they are? Please comment. I don't know what's under here. I would like to find out and have a look, but we're going in now. It's the main entrance number 1. And this unit that we're greeted by didn't actually used to be here in the 1980s, because I had a relative, it was actually my auntie, my aunt, had a unit here, which we'll see in a minute. But this was like, usually it was just a walkway round and a few chairs here, but this was where the Christmas display would be in the mid to late 1980s, in this sort of just a landing here really. There was no back out now, so I can tell you the story just over here. Of course, it wouldn't be a trip to the parade without little mention of the sad passing of David Warner, who we lost a couple of months ago. Yeah, so when I was doing the research for the original Christmas Carol filming locations video back in 2020, I did ask the relation of mine who did have a shop here during all of the 1980s, I think, and some of the 1990s. So they were well established here in 1984. I did ask them if they had any recollections of the filming of the film, and my aunt said no, she didn't, and she didn't even remember it really, so obviously didn't make a big impression on her. But the story I did get was the one about Patricia Routledge's sister, who lived right here at the court. Very high-end apartments just next to the parade. In fact, like I said, they were part of the Royal Shrewsbury Infirmary before they were converted. And like I said, my auntie had a sort of high-end ladies footwear shoe shop here, and Patricia Routledge's sister did patronise it quite a lot, and so did Patricia Routledge when she was visiting her sister. And like I said, Patricia Routledge, also known as Hyacinth Bouquet, also known as Hetty Wainthrop, and also she was a very successful actress on Broadway. So, and I just wonder, does she have any ties to Christmas Carol? See if anyone can play the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon on this one and tell us in the comments. But yeah, that was the story I had. The secret story. Anyway, we're entering the parade again by entrance number 3, we'll call that, just by the court. And this was the unit that was stepping up, which was my aunt's shoe shop. Yeah, they've been here a long time, as I said. But I do wonder if the film company donated these stills. Jury's out on that. And as well as being a historical video today, we're also taking note after our recent Retail Carnage video of the shops in here and the usages of them and perhaps the names. And then we'll add this to the future Retail Carnage in Shrewsbury video when we come back in late February. So we've got models, quite interesting ones actually. It's a think tank, Lash Boutique. Just opposite the former site of the former Stepping Up Collector Centre, specialising in medals, coins, imagine stamps as well, and books. Yeah, if anywhere's going to be haunted, it's going to be the Parade Shopping Centre. But I can tell you, having been here quite a few times as a kid, I didn't see any ghosts. Probably why it's Monday closing. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Yeah, quite a few units in here, but also I imagine these would have all been like wards in the hospital days. I mean, if walls could talk. And there's entrance number 2. This building is grade 2 listed. Oh, to let. Tattoo studio. We did see a big boom of them about 10 years ago, but do seem to have sort of be shrinking back, tattoo. Or getting laser removed from the high street. I'll take a look onto the ground floor. Yeah, very quiet in here today. It's a Monday the 5th of September, like I said. But the only seen about 1 or 2 people in here, including the cleaner. But I imagine it's going to be quiet in town today. I actually remember this unit in the 1980s. It's now this. I remember it being another, a bit like the collector shop, penny farthing I think it was called. We used to have high price stamps in the window. Not much going on in here. I remember this one, Nimble Thimble, being here in the 1980s, and I think it had the same sign, but it still looks good. Good to see. Exit number 5. I don't know if I said there was 4 at the start, but that's definitely number 5. 1981. Looks like the Eastern ingredient shop. Lou's. Unit 18 down here, closed due to retirement, just been reset now. Hopefully be rented out again soon. The way I see it though, with paranormal and whatnot, is basically everywhere could be haunted. If anywhere is going to be haunted, it's going to be haunted here, or a place like Shrewsbury, literally everywhere. But I definitely do think there's a lot more going on in the universe than you can see with your eyes and hear with your ears, and it's just all out there to be tapped into. But like I said, I might do more Shrewsbury Ghost Town videos, but it's just like might as well do the history videos and talk about events that happened in these places, and then you can make your own minds up if you think it might be haunted there. But like I said, everywhere could be haunted in my opinion. It was opened as a shopping mall, the parade, I think in the early 80s. I remember this being tiffy, long time ago. After it had stood empty for a few years. Yeah, I did hear off one of our viewers, one of our very kind and knowledgeable third-rate viewers, is that the coffee shop that we showed on the Retail Carnage video will be relocating to this site. So that's great news. And again, we'll keeping up that when we visit back here in February, we'll hopefully have some happy news on that. So I think we'll walk out entrance number 4 out of the 5 to the rear terrace of the parade. And you can see right behind me there's the terrace outside, al fresco dining for the patrons of the cafe. But yeah, going back to look at the fantastic view over my shoulder there. Yeah, fantastic panorama of the sort of eastern side of Shrewsbury, really. English Bridge, Carline Crescent, which we featured, both of these sites. Abbey Gardens, just shrouding in the trees there, early September. The Abbey, hopefully bringing you the interior of that before long. Ormond Hill, site of former site of Horman Castle, and there you've got the longest station railway signal box in the land, I believe. Yeah, this rear view of the parade is probably as famous because obviously it can be seen for miles, being right up here on the hill of the Shrewsbury Town Centre. See for miles. And like I say, the rear of it's as much as a landmark as the front, really, and probably seen daily by more people. But going back to the 1980s, this whole area behind the parade wasn't developed. I think these apartments, houses, built in about 1998. And the nurses' home, which we've mentioned a couple of times, just peeking out there on the Christmas Carol videos, was derelict. And the side of it, you know, it was all a right mess with, it was like that for years, probably from when it was decommissioned in the late 1970s. The Royal Shrewsbury Infirmary was found to be structurally unsound. Bits were falling off it basically in 1977, and obviously that will not do for a hospital, and it was decommissioned, and a new Royal Shrewsbury hospital was built at Copthorne over on the west side of Shrewsbury. And the parade stood empty for several years till it was bought by a local businessman, Mr. Freeman, and developed into one of Shrewsbury's first undercover shopping centres, one of them. And the back of St. Mary's. Yeah, one of my other third-rate anecdotes, which you're about to get, so watch out or make a cup of tea, is a because my relative had the shop here, she also was in charge of the Christmas display at the Parade Shopping Centre during the late 1980s. And one of the sort of, I suppose you could call it a bonuses, was she had the keys, obviously, to the parade, but she also had keys to the former nurses' home just next door. But when my aunt and my mother were doing the Christmas displays, it took them quite a long time. They really did do painstaking, detailed displays. It took them a whole day on a Sunday and probably longer, but I'd be with them on the Sunday when they were doing it. Over, you know, I seemed to happen for several years when I was under 10, this was. And when they got fed up with me, which took them about 5 minutes usually, but my aunt had the keys for the derelict nurses' home where stuff was stored, and they used to say, why don't you go and play in there? Because obviously I was getting on the nerves a bit. So I used to go in there and play in the derelict building. A real 1980s childhood story, this. You know, going on about the haunted, all these buildings being derelict, it could have been haunted. Well, I suppose it still could be, even though it's not derelict. But I never saw any ghosts. But I will say I almost became a ghost. Yeah, and that happened because I was playing. I think it was the first time I went in there. Like I said, it happened over 3 or 4 years. I seem to be in there quite a lot at Christmas, before Christmas. But first time I was in there, I opened a fire door, which I didn't really think about, and it was either on this side or around the back here, and it just opened into a void. And like I say, I nearly became a ghost. I was very careful around them doors after that, and it just gets me onto a little bit of third-rate philosophy. It's always better to have the memory than to be the memory. Yeah, I just made that up. Yeah, and there was another building just about here. I mean, these stairs are kind of a remnant of it, because it was stood about here, and it was quite a tall, sort of 4-storey building. I'm guessing it was an ancillary building to the hospital. And it was, again, a real derelict building. You could get in the lower floors just by walking down the stairs. Obviously, these weren't there at the time. It was just waste ground, this was really. You could get in the lower floors just by walking down here, because there was a car park, I think, for you know, people who had shops in the parade. And when I was about 14, it seemed to become a bit of a craze to the kids in my school, the lads really, to climb in this building. And it wasn't easy to get into the upper floors, because you had to jump over a gap here, grab onto a sort of doorway here, and pull yourself in. And you know, I did it a few times. I climbed in a few times. It wasn't really my idea of fun. I've never been into putting myself into unnecessary danger, but I did do it. And I did climb up, walked up the stairs right up to the roof, and I've still got memories of the view. I mean, it's very similar to this, but looking down here on this car park in St Mary's from this building. I would say it got, well, I will say it got, I think it got in my subconscious, this crawling around derelict buildings, because I'm very fortunate. I don't really have bad dreams. I never have done, or nightmares, touch wood. But the sort of regular subject to what I'd call sort of unsettling or bad-ish dreams are me climbing up buildings that are falling down and decrepit, and bits falling off them. I never seem to fall to my end in these dreams, but when I climb to the top, I'm always like, how did I get here? And more importantly, how am I going to get down? And that seems to be the worst dreams I have, but they are quite unsettling at times. Not looking its best, all covered in scaffolding, but you get the idea. So thank you for watching to the end of third-rate content today's presentation. It's been a bit longer than I thought it was going to be. A little bit more detail. But overall, it's been a real interesting explore, and it's rekindled some memories once again. Hope you enjoyed them. But today's video I actually have done in 2 parts. E.g., I did the main part of the video, and then today's outro I've redone. I thought I'd bring you a nice view of the back of the parade. Like I said, it's a very familiar landmark and part of the silhouette of Shrewsbury from the eastern side, with St Mary's in the background. It's like a almost citadel-like silhouette. But anyway, since we shot the most part of the video the other day, there's been big news, obviously, very sad news. Queen Elizabeth II has passed away. So I thought I'd make a little, tribute to her. Well, as in just pay my respects here at the end of the video. So we've had Queen Elizabeth II and David Warner today. But anyway, like I said, thank you for watching. And thank you, Queen Elizabeth II, for being there for my whole life up to now. And another thing, one more thing. I make a big thing of saying I read all the comments, and as far as I'm concerned, or was concerned, I do. But one slipped through the net. So Daniel Brodslaw and your lovely wife, Margaret Brodslaw, congratulations on being married for 6 years. And hello, Margaret. I'm really sorry I missed that comment, but I'll be ever vigilant in future. So thank you, guys. And I hope you didn't unsubscribe, because I didn't say hello, because it was a real mistake. But anyway, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and do comment, because I love a good comment, and I generally 90% of the time read them all. So if I don't see you soon, I'll see you 3 times as soon. Third Rate Content, sign out. Bye bye.